Hello and welcome to a new episode of The Zoo. Today we're going to talk about what's new in TrueSight. It's a great product that helps you with capacity management. And here to help me understand better what it can do for all of us is Giuseppe Nardiello, all the way from Italy. Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, that was right. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining The Zoo. So what's the latest features in TrueSight?
So in TrueSight Capacity Optimization 10.3, we have released plenty of nice features, but I'm not going to cover them all, right? There is an important initiative regarding simplification, making the product easier to use, easier to administer, and easier for generating contents. But in addition to that, there are two main features that I would like to focus just a little bit more. One is around reservation analytics, and the other one is regarding support for private and public clouds. So reservation analytics is really about the ability to incorporate in your plans also the information that you're receiving from, project managers, whoever is planning to deliver new application in the environment, right? If you don't know that, when you look at the available capacity, which is really what our customer needs to do in order to understand if there is enough spare capacity today and how much they need to buy down the line. If they don't know about what is coming and they cannot take those reservations into account, well, that's going to be a big deal. And now for customers, as they delivering more and more application, right? This is the digital service world. There's a lot of pressure and there's changing requirements. And as always happens, application never get really delivered at the initially expected day. Take into account reservation, right, is really not something that they cannot avoid doing. With our solution today, in 10.3, we already had released support for reservation in 10.0, which was something we released 6 months ago. But in 10.3, we make easier to integrate those reservations from external data sources. And the other important feature of it's related to cloud, right, which is partially related to reservation, right, because that is also why those environments are so dynamic. And our support is pretty extensive in terms of different technologies. Most recently, we have seen a lot of customers adopting OpenStack, and that's where we focus, again, in 10.0 with additional enhancement in 10.3. Plus, in 10.3, we finally have, as out of a box, an integration to Amazon AWS. And we have plans, of course, for targeting other platforms, other cloud and private platform in the future.
So what type of customers are using your product? Is it only large corporations? Is it mainly government? Who would be an average customer?
Well, that's a good question. And I would say certainly large customers have been the ones that have been adopting capacity management in the old times. But the kind of capacity management that we propose is very different than the ones that we had. Even BMC has always been a player in this market, right? We had as part of our portfolio. This is really a more dynamic, near real-time, and all-encompassing capacity management, which can be done automatically and to support short-term decision-making. So it's not anymore the big corporation that can afford to have maybe one single dedicated person as a capacity planner or a full team of performance and capacity managers. This is not anymore the case. What we see is that this is less a full-time job and more a shared responsibility, and the audience that is consuming and generating contents, right? It could be analysis, models, reports, is growing because, again, everybody needs to have the support provided by analytics for taking decisions. This could be a service owner, right, that needs to understand how much of the infrastructure is being used and actually have some ideas about how much maybe is business unit is going to pay for the amount of resources, right, that they're using. Or this could be a storage expert who needs to have a better insight in terms of why storage is being consumed and what it can expect down the line. It could be a C-level person, and we released also in 10.0 and 10.3 with enhancements what we call the capacity pool view, which is a very high-level view with simply 3 indicators: health, risk, and efficiency. Provides some better understanding, high level, of how much your environment is already in a good situation and what can be done to improve the efficiency and to reduce the potential risk that they may face as the environment evolves, right?
So as more companies moving their operations into the cloud, a lot of them are still on premise. So your solution allows me to analyze both cloud and on-premise solution?
Yeah. So that is absolutely right. Cloud is a big driver for the adoption of capacity management. Actually, Gartner recently, they published what they call a market guide on capacity management, and quite interesting because this was the first document they had published since quite some time, specifically recommending capacity management. And they say that they expect in the next 3 years, or 2 years at this point, the paper was published in November, that there will be a 6% increase in terms of customers adopting capacity management for the specific reason that this will provide them the agility for delivering their services better. It's directly related to their ability to manage better the business. And we know this is not anymore for specific market segments or for a specific customer tier. Is really for everyone, because every company today is really managing the same type of infrastructure, has the same challenges, and is required to deliver new services in a very cost-effective way, and of course matching the timeline. So there's a big amount of pressure, and we know all the challenges that the central IT is facing, DevOps, and cloud, and to be perceived by the business usually as not a good partner. So they need to have, and that's where our tool really helps them to be a more effective service provider and broker. So, for example, having visibility around the public cloud workloads, this is going to be a big issue, and it's a growing issue. 83, if I remember correctly, the percentage, 83% of the customer do admit that they don't have a good sense of how much they're consuming and what is the cost of all those workloads that are running on the public cloud. They cannot certainly, get back to from where they are, and the future is going to be hybrid. It's already hybrid today. So they have to have the agility that provided by also the elasticity of the public resources, or the ability to allow their DevOps people, but some control needs to be in place. And that's where the ability to have visibility of whether they are over-provisioned or under-provisioned is really key. So I think really 10.3 and in general, our TrueSight Capacity Optimization is the product at the right time for providing those capabilities to our customers.
It seemed to be a great solution to handle this infrastructure sprawl we've seen before. So tell me, what's the next cool thing you're working on after this release?
That is usually a secret. We don't tell too many, but since it's just the two of us, I'll tell you that, of course, we are continuing in a journey for expanding and providing more coverage to clouds. I mentioned that. It's not just about the ability to incorporate data. We plan to have better analytics. For example, there's a interesting use case around supporting decision-making in terms of, whether you should keep your workloads on premises or move them all over the public clouds. And if you are, as many customers do, have a multi-cloud strategy, right? How do you know which one of those? So this is just one example. And there are some other cool areas that we also are providing support for in the next release. We're going to have a beta program, as we always do. Actually, we have another important concept that I'd like to mention for our customers to know, which is what we call the focus group. So even before starting implementing the product, and even designing, when we are really in the early stages of the design phase, we like to get together with few selected customers that can really help us to design the solution the way it should be implemented and delivered later. So when we get to the beta program, a customer can really verify how much we've been doing a good job in keeping up with their expectations and requirements. And this has been great. I would say 10.0, 10.3. The reason why they've been widely adopted, soon adopted by customers, in the way recent customers like it, is also because we had established those constructs. So, right, working really in cooperation with customers. And I see this as part of the way IT is changing, also in terms of kind of blurring a little bit the boundaries between the providers and the customers, working really together in a real partnership, not anymore just a marketing term, but a real initiative that we have in place.
Great. Well, I can't wait to see the product coming out there. Thank you so much, G, for joining the Zoo. If you want more information about the solution, please visit us at bmc.com. For the rest of you, take care. Be safe. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.